What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gaming Roundtable, our new show. This is your host, Joshua Mobley. With me this week is James Pungello.
Hello.
Scott Peltz is here.
Hey, what's going on?
And Nathan Gamer.
Hey.
So, this is a new show we're going to do. Basically, this whole show is just debate and conversation and discussion. Hence the Roundtable. So, James, what are we talking about this week?
Oh, we are talking about our most anticipated game of 2013.
Yes.
Jesus. The PS4. That's what I'm going to say. That's not a game.
Not a game.
I know. You know what sucks, though, is there's a lot of stuff that got announced, but we don't know if it's coming out. Like, Star Wars 1313. We don't know if that's coming out next year.
Yeah.
I would like it to, because it looks amazing. But I'm not sure.
It'll
There are
probably
quite
come
a
out.
few.
I think it'll come out for this generation, so it would have to come out next year, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, I think they said it was going to
Yeah,
be
that's
this
true.
generation.
Which means, I mean, if we're kind of all running off the assumption that the PS4 is going to be coming out at the end of next year, and that the next Xbox is coming out either at the end of next year or the beginning of the following year. So this is kind of the last full year to get in your current gen titles.
Yeah. Man,
Unless
I'm
you're
gonna.
making games for the Wii U.
I know.
Yeah, well,
The more I learn about the
You're making
Wii
games for
U,
Wii
the
U,
more
yes. Other
idiotic.
issues.
Like I keep. The more idiotic I'm like, are you serious, Nintendo? Like, are you serious? Did you really do that? Like, I had faith that you would turn this around. All you really needed to do was just go to the store and buy like an Xbox and a PS3 and kind of just play them for a while and be like, yeah, we should do this, but it should have a tablet on it. That's really all you had to do. I don't know how you messed it up.
You know, we're saying that this upcoming year is going to be the last for our current gen consoles, but given the power or maybe lack thereof of the Wii U, I wonder if we're going to see like a lot of Wii U ports onto the PS3 and 360.
I just had this.
And yeah.
Vision of like Microsoft and Sony starting to pull the consoles out from under the table, and then when they see the Wii U, they just kind of slowly look at each other and start putting them back under the table. Like maybe we can wait a little longer.
I mean, that's what Microsoft did with the Kinect, right? Like all the stuff you hear is that we would be playing the next Xbox right now if the Kinect wasn't such a big success, sales-wise anyway.
Yeah, and they keep making more bundles.
All right, so let's get on topic.
Yeah, that's a topic for another time.
Who wants to start? Who wants to hazard a something as their most anticipated game? What they're looking forward to the most?
There's so many good games.
I can start if you guys need more time to think.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So for me, when I was thinking this up last night, and I was like, I mean, there are a lot of games I'm excited about, but like some of the games like that you mentioned earlier, like BioShock and Tomb Raider, I think they're going to be fun and I'll get them, but I'm not huge into those franchises. The two I was looking at would be Gears of War, because I love Gears of War, and The Last of Us, because I really like what I see from Naughty Dog, and I know the Uncharted series was great, so I'm excited about that. And really, I'd have to say, if I'm going to say that I'm most anticipated, I'm going to pick The Last of Us, simply because Gears is great, but it's a prequel. It's a series we've already seen. We've gone through 3 full games. We know the backstory. We know the gameplay. We know what's coming. It's going to be fun, but we know what's coming. The Last of Us is completely new territory. It's a new IP. It's something different. Hopefully it's something that's going to be a lot of fun to play, and it's going to be a good story. But I think that makes it a little more interesting for me. So if I had to pick one, I'd say The Last of Us, but I'm also really looking forward to Gears. And if Star Wars 1313 comes out, that one looks amazing as well.
I know. It's Uncharted in space. I mean, come on. Some people were like, oh, it looks kind of dumb. Like I saw a couple people that were saying that, they'd rather play as Jedi. And I'm like, aren't you kind of tired of playing as a Jedi? I mean, I love being a Jedi, but I wanna see something different come out of that universe, you know? And this looks like something different. That's why it looks so cool, you know?
Well, I want KOTOR 3, but that's just not going to happen, so...
You don't know that.
Give it time. Give it
Yeah,
time.
I bet it'll happen. I bet it'll happen one day. And when it happens, it'll be freaking incredible. But
Like, how is the Old Republic doing? The Old Republic isn't doing great, is it?
well,
I don't
actually,
think
you know
so.
what's funny is like people thought it was gonna be this competitor to WoW, and then when it didn't end up being that, they thought it was doing terrible. Even though it had like close to 1 million subscribers at some point. I mean, it kind of dropped to around. It kind of sustained about 700,000, which I mean, for a subscription MMO is not, like, it's okay, but
Yeah, like what's WoW?
I
Like
think
11 million or
EA,
something?
I think EA wanted more. That's why they were like, well, you know, I might as well go free to play. And I guess since it's gone free to play, it's got a resurgence. But I really, really like that game a lot. People give it so much shit, and I don't know why. Like, it's a good game. They just give it shit because they're like, oh, it plays like WoW. I'm like, it plays like WoW because WoW is a good game, and they wanted to emulate that, you know? That's like why a lot of games play like Call of Duty now, because Call of Duty's a good game, and they're like, we want to be like that. Doesn't mean it sucks. Just means they're trying to pander, and it's familiar. You know,
It means they're trying to pander.
it means it's because it's familiar. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I
Yeah.
have no problem with, like, when something is like, you know, something comes along and works really well and people really like it, then if that element is somewhere else, that doesn't necessarily mean that game is bad because it's just a copycat. Because if it can bring something new but utilize what the other games got right, I think that can still work well.
Exactly. It's like the whole unlocking things when Call of Duty 4 came out, and everybody, like, it just revolutionized multiplayer. Now everyone does it because it was such a great idea. It's not like everyone was like, well, crap, I wish I'd have thought of that, and just kind of sat there twiddling their thumbs making their generic multiplayer titles anymore. And you never, and nobody ever goes, oh yeah, you know, they're ripping off Call of Duty with all this level up shit. It's kind of, no. Shut up.
So,
Shut up,
Josh,
internet person.
what is your most anticipated game?
Jesus Christ, James. I mean, there's just they are literally trying to make me go broke. I hope, like, for the love of God, I really hope that I get a couple GameStop gift cards or something, because I'm gonna need all the help I can get. Because, I mean, every week for 3 months, something comes out. And, of course, they had to tear my soul apart on March 12th, where they bringing out God of War Ascension and StarCraft 2 on the same day. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what am I going to do? The only thing I can think is that I'm going to go to the midnight launch for StarCraft 2 and God of War, pick them both up, and then while StarCraft 2 is installing, play God of War for a while and kind of alternate. I mean, God of War won't take as long. I know that because it's God of War. But, you know, there's so many games coming out, and I want to play. Like, Bioshock Infinite comes out, Metal Gear Rising, Tomb Raider, Aliens, Colonial Marines, Sly Cooper. I'm gonna go with StarCraft just because, like, I'm kind of a Blizzard fanboy, and like, I pretty much love everything they've ever done at this point. And StarCraft, I played a lot when I was really little, and I'm like really invested in the storyline. So I'm like happy. I'm like really anxious to finally get back in that universe after. When did StarCraft 2?
I'm looking now. It's 2 years. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. It feels like StarCraft 2 came out, you know, last year or something.
I know.
It's been 2 years. It'll have been 3
Wings
years
of
by the
Liberty.
time, the expansion comes out.
Do you remember? Do you remember when they announced that they were gonna split the game up because they wanted the campaigns to be longer? Do you remember the backlash they had?
Yeah. A lot of people were upset about that.
Who cares though? Because it's better than having like three 4-hour campaigns. You got one amazing 10-hour campaign that's going to continue into another 10-hour campaign.
I mean that's kind of like the natural progression, right? Oh, like the original StarCraft had those 3 campaigns and then one for each race, and they were sufficiently long, but they were sort of this like similar. They were kind of the same campaign 3 times with different units.
Yeah.
But now, you know, with the StarCraft name established and Blizzard being more established, like it kind of makes sense that they would make it into effectively 3 games. Like, so that I don't know why people were so surprised. That's sort of the logical end to that.
Plus, I doubt they're gonna charge you $60 for Heart of the Swarm.
I think they said 40. I think I said $40.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's an expansion pack. You can't play it without the other games, so it makes sense. But yeah,
So StarCraft 2?
StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm. That's mine.
Well, just a quick point to that. Is Blizzard the only company releasing boxed expansion packs still?
Yeah, I think so.
It's
I don't know. We'll find out if
like
they
like I think the Company of Heroes expansions from a few years ago, or the Dawn of War expansions from Relic. I think those were all standalone expansions. Like you could just play those if you wanted. But now, like with World of Warcraft and StarCraft 2, I feel like Blizzard's the only one doing that still.
Yeah, I would say so. Because Pandaria came out in boxes. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But I bought it digitally. But whatever. That's it. That's it for me.
Okay. Scott, what about you?
Probably my most anticipated isn't really a AAA title. It's probably Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs. I love the first one. Maybe love's a harsh term. The first one, Amnesia's kind of got this reputation of being this terrible, like terrifying, horrifying game that knocks you out of your chair, and it does. Like it's a really effective horror game, probably the most effective horror game that's ever been made. So to kind of see what they do for the sequel, I like when they announced it and showed a trailer, just like the title of that game, A Machine for Pigs. Like you don't even need to know what that game is about. Like that title alone is like, yeah, they know what they're doing. This is going to be good. And they brought on the team that did Dear Esther and some other like good atmospheric games. So like I don't know. I feel like this is going to be kind of another landmark horror game. I used to be a big fan of horror games like Silent Hill and Resident Evil and PC stuff like the first Phantasmagoria and stuff like that. So yeah, that probably number one for me would be Amnesia. Hopefully, like I kind of wish they would do a console release for that, to be honest, just because like I'm a PC gamer for the most part, and I feel like that even though the Amnesia name got out, getting it on a console I think would kind of push it to more people, and it's not a full package release. It's like a $20-$30 game. So I think I don't know. I want to see I want to play Amnesia. That's my most anticipated game, and I'm hoping that they will put it on consoles. That's like my most anticipated announcement, is that it's going to end up on the PS3 and 360, because more people really need to play Amnesia. I think it's a game that should have redefined horror, and the only reason it didn't maybe is because not enough people got their hands on it.
Interesting. Yeah, I would be happy if it came to consoles. I haven't played it, but my girlfriend was taking a writing for video games class, and she had to buy the last Humble bundle that came out, and Amnesia was one of the games, so she had to play it. And I would go to her house during the day while she had to play it, and I would just sit at like her kitchen table just writing, and then all of a sudden I would hear like she was like, what is that? What is that? What's happening? getting all freaked out. She wouldn't play it alone. I had to be there because apparently
Yeah,
it's just
I
so
mean-
terrifying.
It's incredibly effective. It does so many things right that a lot of horror games these days maybe seem to forget. Like you see the Silent Hill series, like the last few releases, haven't been great. But leading up to them, the developers would be saying like, "Oh yeah, we're redefining combat, and combat is like you're so much more effective of a combatant now, and you can fight these creatures. It's more like in previous Silent Hills, it was so hard to fight, but we fixed the controls. And then Resident Evil is this crazy action thing now. Like Amnesia does such a great job of kind of getting away from that by not letting you fight against things. Like there are no weapons, there's no like recourse against these creatures, of which there aren't even that many, and it's got this kind of balancing act between you have to hide from the creatures in order for them not to kill you, but by being away from the light in the darkness, you lose your sanity and you start to see things. Like there'll be like paintings on the wall. Like the original game takes place, I think, in like the 1700s or 1600s,
Something like
and
that.
there will be like paintings on the wall of like aristocrats and whatever else. But as your sanity meter goes down, the pictures will be like distorted. Like they'll look like their faces will be disfigured and their mouths will be like gaping open with like bile coming out of it, and just all these little touches that make you not want to go hang out in the darkness. And you're like, but you have to, because if you don't, you will die from the creatures. So it's this kind of like The Walking Dead, I guess, did a similar thing where you have a bad choice and another really bad choice. And there's no good option where you will get out and everything is great. So I'm excited to see what they do with the sequel. And I guess another anticipated game that I won't want to play is going to be The Elder Scrolls Online. Like,
I'm gonna play
that
it.
just seems like a mess, like, looking at it. Like, I really, really want to see how that game comes out and what the reaction is to it. And, is it going to be like Final Fantasy 14-esque?
I really hope not. I haven't seen anything for. I've seen pictures and I'm like, that looks really pretty. I'll give it a go. But like, what do you mean by like it looks like a mess? What's wrong with it?
Well, when they announced it at E3 and showed it off, like the reaction there from everyone was really negative. Like it looks like the kind of game that you may have gotten excited about 5 or 6 years ago, but at this point, like, do people still want MMOs? Is that something that people still like, a standard issue, nothing special, nothing standout about it MMO? Like the game doesn't have, it doesn't follow the Elder Scrolls like lore or like style.
I thought it did. They said that it takes place like 1,000 years before the first game or something like that.
Sure, but I mean it like Oblivion and Morrowind and Skyrim. There's like this atmosphere about them, and from everything I've heard, Elder Scrolls Online doesn't really have that. It feels like an MMO that later the Elder Scrolls game was attached to. It's just everything I hear people saying about it. It sounds like it's setting up to fail. The combat, combat in Elder Scrolls, I guess, has never been great, but it has been, unique for the most part. But this goes to like World of Warcraft style combat. It seems for like I don't know. I don't know. It seems like a AAA release that is setting up to fall on its face from what I've read about it and what I've seen about it.
We'll see.
And I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Nate, what about you?
All right. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, a lot of those games that you guys just said. The Pig Machine one, I was looking at that. It looked pretty cool. I have not played the first Amnesia, but I don't know. There's definitely GTA 5. I can't believe nobody said that yet.
If Matt was here, he would have.
Yeah. GTA 5 looks great. I'd say probably number one is going to be BioShock Infinite, although I feel like I may just anticipate that the most because I've been waiting for it to come out the longest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that game should have come out last year, but I can't wait to play it. Looks crazy fun. Flying around on those rails and so forth. Yeah.
What do you think about the new setting as they're going back in the past and they're not in Rapture? So it seems like it's almost a completely different game because so much of the original BioShock was the setting.
Well, it's fine. I mean, I think that kind of charm will be recaptured in what's it called? Columbia.
Columbia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, BioShock 2 kind of flopped just because we were like, well, all right, we've been to Rapture before, and, well, this is cool, but it's nothing new. Well, this is going to be something new, and, I don't know.
You know what? People give BioShock 2 a lot of shit, and you know what? It's not, yes, it's not as good as BioShock 1. Of course it's not, but it's still really good, and I don't give a fuck. All right?
I'm not saying it's bad.
I know, but I'm just saying, people give it so much shit because they're always just like, oh, it's not as good as the first one. That doesn't mean it's not good, you know?
I think a lot of people are accustomed to the second game in the series being a bit better. And obviously, that's not universally true, but I think that there are a lot of game series where the second game outdoes the first game.
People went into it with a lot of prejudice, too. Because they were like, we've already been here before. It's not gonna be as magical. And then they also were like, oh, you're playing as a big daddy. So
it's not gonna be as magical.
You don't feel the same sense of urgency. It's like, well, they're trying to tell a different story. They're not trying to tell they're trying to do something different. BioShock 2 would have been it would have probably been even worse if you'd have just played some random guy again, just walking through Rapture, like, yeah, this is cool, I'm here again. What would you have done? I'm glad they tried to do something different.
It was a different team too, wasn't it?
It was a different team, yeah. I wish that they had done a prequel because I would love to play a BioShock game during the Civil War, but I still enjoy BioShock 2 except for the 5th level. That is the worst part of that entire game.
So I'm reading about Infinite here. It says the Infinite has a 1999 mode, hardware where you
party?
You do. It says on Wikipedia that the game also will feature a 1999 mode, harkening back to games like System Shock 2, where decisions made by the player will have a more permanent impact on the game, possibly leading the player to an unwinnable situation and requiring a restart from an earlier saved game.
Wow.
Yeah, so it makes it harder, basically.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people will be happy about that. Lately, they've been trying to make games harder on purpose because for some reason there's a lot of masochists lately. I don't know what's happening with that.
People are getting upset.
I'll raise my hand for that one.
I got what?
He said
I love hard games. Hard games are great.
Oh no, Nate said something about me.
I don't like hard games at all. I just get so angry. You should have seen me playing Call of Duty 4 on Veteran. Something. I've never been so angry at something in my life. I will never, ever, ever again play that game on Veteran. It was too much. It was too much on me emotionally. I was so mad, but I did it. All right.
I think some people were a little upset because games got a tad easier as time went on. Yeah. With you got your regenerating health and you got your easy mode and you got just other, ways to just blast through the game. And I think people were kind of upset because in the past, you couldn't necessarily do that. There wasn't always a difficulty setting. There wasn't, regenerating health. So games were a little bit harder back in the day.
Well, I'm not saying make games easy where you just walk from point A to point B. I mean, I want some kind of resistance, some kind of challenge,
I'm just saying that. I think that's why some games have decided to kind of amp up the difficulty.
Yeah, I just
that little bit of backlash.
I don't understand the point of making it incredibly difficult to where you have to play the game 20 times, restart it 20 times in order to beat it. I don't really like doing that. I like still getting from point A to point B just with some resistance in the way,
I rage quit Dark Souls. I was supposed to review that last year for the site we're working for, and I couldn't do it. I was trying to play it and just could not do it. And I went out to the editor, and I was like, I can't play this game. I can't do it. and she reassigned it. I can't play this game.
Yeah, he would have given that game like a he would have given that game like a 3.
Oh, it would have been it would have been one of the worst scores ever. Like, this game is impossible.
I had to play Mountain Blade Fire and Sword. And I fucking hated that game. Like,
What?
I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I don't know why everyone likes that game because like I tried playing it and I was like, I hate this. I hate this so much. I'm
Mounts
so
and
bored.
blades.
Like, I gave that game like a 3.5. Pretty sure because I was like, and I had a bunch of I wish we hadn't lost that review because it had some funny ass like I would rather's in there. But yeah, pretty
Such
sure the
as?
developer that gave me that game was not too happy with my review, but that's because I'm a journalist.
All right, so I think everyone's picked everyone said their game. Are there any other games that you're looking forward to you want to shout out that haven't been discussed yet?
Last of Us.
I talked about that.
Did you?
Yeah, that was my most anticipated.
Oh.
I know it was so long ago, but
I was. I totally forgot. Okay then, never mind.
Well, another PS3 exclusive, Beyond.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Beyond is going
yeah.
to be very cool.
Beyond
Although it's
looks
probably going to
awesome.
play exactly like Heavy Rain, and everybody's gonna be like, "It's just another Heavy Rain." It's like, well, what did you expect? You know?
well, it's Quantum Dream. I mean,
Yeah,
sure.
Heavy Rain was just another Indigo Prophecy. But
nothing is another Indigo Prophecy because
Indigo Prophecy got way too trippy.
that
at the
game
end.
is weird.
It was ridiculous. It's fun, but it's ridiculous.
I played it the whole game with my girlfriend. We just set I got it on a Steam sale one year for like $3, and I'd always wanted to play it. So I was like, oh, and I knew nothing about it. I knew absolutely nothing. I just knew I wanted to play it, and I got it for $3, and we started playing it together. And by the end, when they're doing that whole Matrix thing in the rain, spoiler alert, it came out like what 10 years ago,
like 7 years ago.
Yeah, they're doing that whole Matrix thing in the rain. And he's fighting the bum, like the magic bum, you know. And then it ends. It just like abruptly ends. I just turned to my girlfriend and go, "What the fuck just happened?"
I was talking to my brother about it. I'm like, we start this game and he murders a guy in a bathroom stall in a diner, and he doesn't know that he's doing it. And by the end, we're fighting this glow stick in like, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with this game?
It's a trippy game. Like when you have to run from all the cockroaches in your office. The giant cockroaches. Yeah. You remember that part?
Yeah. They keep cutting back to everyone else, seeing him just cowering, like
they're all like, what they doing?
What's wrong with you?
It's all these giant cockroaches coming at him. Like, "Woo!"
That, and the other one we didn't mention was Watch Dogs. I'm looking.
Yeah, I was
forward
about to
that
mention
one.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ! I'm so excited about Watch Dogs.
Yeah,
I'm
me
forgetting
too.
that game exists because they've just been so quiet on it since E3.
It's kind of
Yeah,
nuts,
they
too.
put that trailer out and then just were like, okay, well that's it. You got your trailer.
Well, people
Like,
are
that trailer
theorizing
looked-
it's going to be a next-gen game. I don't know
Yeah,
why they keep
totally.
saying that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a launch title or something. But that doesn't seem smart on Ubisoft's part. Although, it could be smart because you get established and all that, but a lot of people don't want to release their games next gen because they're like, well, it's not going to make as much money.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. I mean, you have, like, if you put out your thing on the PS3 and the Xbox 360, you already have this install base of all these people that already have the console. Or if you put it out as a launch title, you're limiting yourself to just the people that are buying it right off the bat. People might then buy it later down the road, but, like, your initial sales are not going to be very good.
Yeah.
I think it'll end up being one of those like those titles that comes out on both. Like what Need for Speed, like Hot Pursuit or something, or one of the Need for Speed games came out on the original Xbox and PS2, and then also was a 360 launch title. You get those like halvesies, and I think that Watch Dogs could end up being like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Another one, Battlefield 4, is supposed to come out.
That's right.
That'll be
I
interesting.
forgot about Battlefield 4.
Battlefield
Yeah.
4, I wonder if it's just gonna look like Battlefield 3 and Medal of Honor, or if it's gonna look even better. Like,
Hopefully it looks better.
yeah. Well, I mean, the console ones were a little tuned down. I mean, they still looked freaking incredible. But
Oh yeah.
like, if you look at the side by side with the PC, like the fully clocked PC one looks way better, but the console ones still look, absolutely incredible. Man, goddamn, I really hope they make Mirror's Edge 2 with that
Yeah,
engine.
I just hope they make Mirror's Edge 2. Period. I don't care what they make it with.
Like, I don't care what it looks like. It could be a Super Nintendo game for all I give a shit.
Yeah, I think like the Quake 2 engine is free these days. So
Yeah, that's so random. Like, Quake 2 engine, do whatever. Jesus, there's like way better engines. Like, you could just download like the Crytek SDK. So that's like better than the Quake 2 engine, and that's free.
Sure, yeah. Mirror's Edge 2. I don't like whatever. Just give me it. Just give me it.
I know. Oh my God.
Shut up and take my money.
I've beat Mirror's Edge like 4 times. I'm still like, I want to know what her and her sister are gonna do now.
It's just such like the concept of Mirror's Edge was so good, and such a risk. Like, I remember when it was coming out, when they were hyping it up, people kept asking at trade shows, like, is there going to be a third person option? Like, you just haven't shown it yet, right? It's going to be there, and they kept saying no. Like, this is a first person platforming game. That is the game.
Somebody
we're not
patched the
compromising.
PC one for third person. It looks awful. It's like, I would never do that. That looks stupid.
Yeah, like that game had such a good sense of space and like great kinetics and like everything about it. Just taking it out of first person would ruin that game.
Yeah, and I mean, there were a couple parts that were kind of like, why am I doing this? Well, I mean, they made sense for the story, but in terms of like, people wanted to keep free running, and you'd be like in some hallway waiting out the gunfire or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And people would be like, why am I doing this? I just want to free run. It's like, well, I mean, they're mixing it up, and they're trying to tell a story here. The story's not going to take place on the roofs the entire game, So,
It did for Batman.
The whole story while you're running.
She's just on like
speaking of Batman.
She's on a mobile treadmill while cutscenes are going out. Like, yeah, that's cool. Murder, yeah. Yeah, I want the next Batman Arkham game.
Well, I would like to get the next game from Rocksteady that's not Batman. I'm hoping that we see something from them that's not another Batman.
I want
game.
them to make
I know
a
they were talking
Superman
about
game.
the rumored
They're
Turtles
doing a
game,
Batman.
I thought they're doing a Justice League game.
No, they were doing a Batman game. They're doing a Batman game that had the Justice League in it.
Like a Golden Age Batman.
No,
I
it's
think.
correct your shit, sir. Silver Age.
Ooh.
It's
Slightly less valuable.
Yeah, slightly less valuable. Some people prefer, like, actually the Silver Age is kind of what everything now is based on. The Golden Age stuff.
It's like the hammy,
Not.
cheesy.
Yeah, the
Batman.
Golden Age stuff was
Adam West.
all in the 30s and all that stuff, and then the Silver Age is kind of what everything is based on now. Like,
It's like 70s Batman, right?
well, there were a lot of different things going on there. I'm talking about like when I think it's either the end of the Silver Age is when a lot of people start to like do Batman the way it's supposed to be, not the Adam West stuff, and then the Bronze Age sort of, and now we're in the modern age.
Yeah, what's saying here is that it's the Silver Age, about like the mid 50s to 1970.
Yeah.
So basically all throughout the 60s.
Yeah. But I mean, they reboot comics all the time, but they do it for a reason. It's not because they're like, oh, there's too much. Well, no, part of it is there's so much shit going on, nobody's going to be able to keep up with this. And the other part is, like, if they'd have just kept with the continuity, all the superheroes would just be old people. And
That would be awesome.
I know. See, I always said, like, I think it'd be interesting if all the sidekicks took up their mantles at some point. Like, but, So they always reboot the universe at some point so that it's more modern. So then, it took place in recent history, like the Superman origin took place in recent history and not like in the 30s, like in the original book. And then they
He didn't fight
sometimes
World War II. He didn't.
yeah, sometimes they tweak the origin story a bit to make it more modern. Like the origin story's changed a lot. Like this I don't know what it is for the Superman now because they just rebooted it last year, but before that they had released Superman Secret Origin, which if anyone is interested in reading comics, I'm talking to the listeners right now, Superman Secret Origin is a fantastic book. Go buy it. I have it right now. I'm looking at it. They made Lex Luthor actually like a kid at Clark Kent's high school who was like this like super smart nerd kid.
Was he bald in high school?
What?
Was Lex Luthor bald in high school?
No, he has hair. But he loses
that would have
later.
been an easy way to make him turn evil because everyone made fun of him.
You know what's another
Son of a bitch!
Sorry, we're on sorry on this
did that at some
comic
point.
book tangent, but one more Superman book I have to recommend is Superman Red Sun. That is like one of my favorite comic
Yeah,
books.
Red Sun is really good.
Red Sun's amazing, and Lex Luthor has hair for most of it in it.
Kingdom Come is also good.
Kingdom
That's
Come-
kind of a
Kingdom Come's
that's more than a
incredible.
Superman story, but Superman's kind of the center of it.
Yeah. Well, it's Captain Marvel's in there too. Although now he's just called Shazam because Marvel
Yeah.
finally was like, there's two Captain Marvels. We're just kind of like putting their arms up and they're like, oh fuck, everybody knows him as Shazam anyway, even though the fucking wizard is named Shazam. Tired of this shit.
Yeah, well, they had to advertise the comics as Shazam. They couldn't advertise the Captain Marvel. They lost a lawsuit.
I know. But
All right, so
still call him
we
Captain
have gotten way off.
Yeah, I know.
Of course. But but the next Rocksteady game, Scott, you were saying the next one without Batman. Was that what you were saying?
Yeah, because I know that there's been a lot of talk of like what's Rocksteady going to do next. For a while, there was like a Turtles rumor, which was shot down. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Then there was I heard some talks of like is the next Rocksteady Batman going to be set in the Silver Age? And then I like Justice League things, but I don't know that any of it's been confirmed, and some of it has been denied. So I just want to see what they're going to do, and I hope it's not Batman again. Like developers often get sort of pigeonholed when they do something very successful, and I'd like to see them spread out a little bit. Even if it's another game in that same style, I'd like to see them set it in another universe. Maybe even a new one, maybe even something their own, but they've shown that they can handle licenses really well, so maybe keep them on something,
I would love
Would
to
they
see...
make a Superman game?
Yeah, I
Would
would
they
love
make
to
a
see
good
them...
Superman game?
I would love them to see them make a Superman game, like finally make a good Superman game. And I feel like if anyone could do it, they'd be the ones.
Yeah, I mean, a Superman, like, adapting that character into a game is so difficult just because of, like, his skill set. On paper, if you look at it at a glance, it seems like he would fit well into an action game, but the closer you look at, like, what happens in an action game and what does Superman do, they don't really work. Superman is mostly invincible, right? So how do you have him fighting thugs and not have it be meaningless?
We talked about...
Yeah,
I was...
you just walk through that game.
Funny
You should be able
thing
to
is,
walk through that.
when I was at the midnight launch for the Vita, we were talking about this, and some guy, shout out to you, dude. You're probably not even listening. I'll never see you again. But this guy was like, they could fix this simple. It would be simple to fix this. He's like, just make it an origin story. So like the game starts off when you're a kid, and you just and that's like you start learning to fly and all that. And then
that'd be awesome.
and then you grow up, and then you're kind of like still weak, and you kind of learn you learn your ice breath, and you learn your laser eyes, and you're not as strong. And then as the game goes on, like the enemies get crazier, because the enemies in Superman do get crazier. Because I mean, when he first starts off, he's fighting thugs, but then later on, he's like at the edge of the universe fighting freaking demons and shit. Like
But yeah, like once he starts to fight things that are from Earth, like once he fights things that aren't human, Superman all of a sudden that invulnerability seems to go away.
Yeah.
Because like he fights like parademons or whatever, and they'll like punch him and he'll like get hurt. Like those things happen.
Magic, right?
The
Like
thing is,
Superman
though-
yeah,
would be
exactly.
magic.
Once you exactly. So once you start getting, and sometimes they don't even, not even necessarily magic, just other superpowered beings can hurt him.
Yeah, and
Like
I feel
Darkseid
like
can just beat the crap out of him.
I feel like this
And
game
magic.
couldn't really be open world. I mean, they probably could find a way to make it kind of open world, but I feel like it would have to be kind of on rails, sort of. At least part of it would have to kind of be on rails, because if you're going to try and tell a story like that, you got to lead the player through stuff. You can't
Or
just...
what about like we were talking about Red Sun and how good of a story that was. The good thing about Red Sun is sort of in a lot of ways like the morality choices that a character like Superman has to make, and the sorts of things he has to go through, because he's and Kingdom Come is the same. He's basically a demigod, and so the only like the physical things don't really affect him. Like it's all the choices he has to make, and that make it an interesting story for Superman. So if maybe instead of just being an action game where they find some enemy for him to fight that makes sense, make it so he is this invincible character who is not threatened by any sort of physical presence, but the choices he has to make, not necessarily like going through and completing the choice he makes, but actually making it is the difficult part for the player. If Lois Lane and what's her sister Lana, like if he has to choose between saving one of them and they're on opposite sides of the planet, he has to make that moral choice, and then the other one suffers because of that, and then the story branches in a different path because of the choice he made.
See, that's interesting. I think that would be really awesome, because like then people actually get to see the side of Superman that most people never see, because they're always like, oh, he's just this big powered guy, and he's not dark. Like, he's not supposed to be dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Is he's supposed to be the big blue Boy Scout. He's supposed to be an idealist. He's supposed to be, the shining example.
And that's why I like him. That's why most people like him. But at his core, he's like really flawed, because he's not human, so he always feels out of place and stuff.
Yeah, I think working that sort of thing into a Superman game would be great. And so if Rocksteady were to tackle Superman, I think that would be the way they should try to do it.
Definitely. Definitely.
Alright.
Rocksteady, get on it. I know you could do it. I have faith. You made 2 amazing Batman games when people were like, Batman games aren't that great, and you did it. You changed everyone's mind. Do it for Superman.
Yep.
All right, I think
And,
we've reached the end of our discussion, unless Scott, did
There
you have something else
is
to add?
one final thing I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
2 of my favorite games this year, The Walking Dead and XCOM, are getting the season 2 of The Walking Dead is coming out next year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
obviously
right.
they're going to continue that, because it was like their most successful game ever. So
It was a runaway hit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that is going to be very interesting, and I really want to see what they do there. But the point I want to bring up here is we're getting another Walking Dead game next year and another XCOM game next year, and they're both first-person shooters.
I really don't care about that other... Dude, that XCOM first-person shooter is never coming out. You know how many times it's been delayed so many times. And you know what's sad is it looked really cool. But I don't know. It's like in development hell at this point. Like, is it even worth it, like, to bring it out?
Supposedly we're getting it next year. That's the last I heard it, because or I think it was...
I haven't even seen a trailer for that game in like 3 years. I mean...
Yeah, it was funny because that XCOM was announced and shown off, and there was a huge backlash from XCOM fans.
And then Enemy Unknown got showed off, and then everybody's like,
Enemy
oh, okay.
Unknown got shown and came out first.
Yeah. And everybody's like, oh, I'm fine then if there's a classic XCOM game coming out,
Yeah, but and then supposedly we're getting that, and then the AMC based Walking Dead game, which is a shooter. It's a first-person shooter.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
That comes out next year.
We have enough.
I want to see if that's any
We
good.
have enough zombie shooters. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, like at its best, it's gonna be what? Dead Island, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
But
I thought it
we
was
already
just gonna
have
be
Dead Island and Left 4
I really
Dead,
think it's
so-
just gonna be a really mediocre
got the next-
first-person shooter.
You have Dead Island Riptide coming out next year too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dead Island is coming out.
Isn't the DayZ standalone coming out next year too?
Supposed to.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, Arma 3 is coming out next year, and I think that DayZ is on the Arma 3 engine.
Cool. Cool. I've never played DayZ, but I want to try it one day. That might be a fun VGU plays, actually.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. It's a funny idea.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
It's a funny idea for a video. Just see how long our little group can takes to just get demolished. I want to do that now. It sounds really fun. Anyway, I'm thinking we about finished this up.
Woo!
All right, cool. So that's the first Roundtable podcast.
Yup.
See you guys next week.
Peace out.